My name's Thomas Waddle. This is the Whisky Sour Hour. Hope you're doing well. It's been a week where at first I thought it's been quite quiet. There's not going to be much to talk about, and then when I actually look back, because what I do is, you're picking things up, you're browsing the web, whatever you're doing, I'll take little notes like, oh, that's quite interesting, we could maybe talk about that, we could maybe talk about this, and obviously we like to try and keep things light-hearted, but with the way things are going right now, there's some heavy topics, or, not too heavy, obviously, we don't want to make it, too dour, but, we've got a ship that done a beeline, T-boned another ship, that's crazy, and then with the outside factors of that, so you've got, like a Russian captain getting detained for, manslaughter. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm not a conspiracist, or whatever you would like to call it. I suppose conspiracy theorist is the right way to do it. I'm not that at all, but you can start making stories up, and next thing I know, I'm Tom Clancy here. So, listen, we've got plenty to talk about. Sit down, relax, go a walk, whatever you're doing. I hope it's well, and let's crack on. So, for anybody who doesn't know, March 10th, a Portuguese ship, or a ship under the Portuguese flag. I'm not really good with the nautical terms, but a ship under the Portuguese flag called the So Long, which, side note here, that either, is that a joke? Like, at first when I was seeing it, it's called So Long, I thought, as grim as it might be, this guy, the captain of the ship has typed in So Long and has just, made a beeline for this American ship that's sitting, but that's besides the point. March 10th, a Portuguese flagged container ship So Long collides with an anchored US ship, the Stena Immaculate. It's not very immaculate anymore. Like, enough of the puns, we're not doing this anymore, that's enough. The collision itself resulted in multiple explosions and fires. I believe from the last count that I saw, there has only been one death, which has led to the 59-year-old Russian captain. Again, conspiracy theorists will be out. He's been arrested and charged with gross negligence manslaughter by the UK authorities. Right now, there's been an exclusion zone set up. From what's information's been given, there isn't much of a chance of this being like a maritime disaster, and that there's fuel or oil breaking out into the sea, which obviously is a major concern when something like this happens. But from the initial impact, the explosion, any dangerous liquids that may have escaped have actually burned off. So, thank goodness for that. There's obviously going to be a massive investigation into this. From what's been released is obviously it's all going to come out in the washing. It seems to be put down to human error or system failures, but I've seen a video now, whether or not this is legit. Again, I'm going to sound like a tinfoil hat wearing guy here, but I've seen a few videos, and apparently it's almost like Skyscanner, when you can look at what planes above you. But there's a nautical version of that, and you can see the ship in it. It makes a beeline. It is straight. It's a straight shot, spearing this ship. Obviously, there's no videos of it. This is purely just on a computer screen. But it's one of those ones you're looking at it and like, surely, I've been in a couple of ferries, never anything too serious. Maybe across to Belfast is probably about as far as I went. And the amount of bells and whistles you hear, and they all probably mean something. That to an untrained ear, it just sounds like noise. I'm sure that there's big red flashing lights saying, we are going to make contact here. So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes out. Thankfully, damages have been to a minimum. Obviously, we don't want anybody losing their life, but unfortunately, that's what's happened here. And I'm. You're trying to look at the kind of big picture, and you've not got a maritime disaster on our hands with regards to like fuel or anything escaping. I feel like this is getting a bit too heavy. The Whisky Sour Hour was supposed to be quite relaxed, but it's but it's certainly something, you know, we're going to speak about here. So, you know, so long has happened. It's struck the Stena Immaculate. I still kind of get over the names of these ships. And yeah, there's been an arrest. There's been one death, and you know, thankfully, you know, it could have been a lot worse. Looking down the list of obviously things that I think are quite interesting as well. 2 astronauts, and again, if you looked at these names, you're like, I think to be an astronaut you have to have, like, you know, your Buzz Aldrins. You have to have a pretty cool name. You've got Butch Whitmore and Suni Williams. I mean, those are pretty astronautical names. If you ask me, who are returning to Earth for the first time since June 2024. The reason it's took so long for them to get back is there was mechanical delays. So returning to Earth March the 12th. Is when I'm recording this, you know, spoiler alert, you know, I try and do it as close to Friday as I can, but you know, it's not always the case. So we're before it, so all things going well. Hopefully, you know, next week we're not talking about anything else happening. You know, let's not tempt fate. Touching, I've got a wooden table here. Let's touch that. So that again, space. It's so interesting. So we'll see. Also, on March the 2nd as well, you've got a SpaceX launch for the Kennedy Space Center, and obviously. We've been over this before. Elon Musk, you know, absolute twatbag. But you know, here we are. I don't think I need to censor myself with that, do I? When I'm uploading this, you know, swear words. You know, what a twat. But anyway, I'm sure there's somebody in England that's hearing that and is freaking right out when they hear that. So yeah, you know, like astronauts returning to Earth, rockets going up. Again, it's power to the people, man. That's exciting stuff. Something a little bit more upbeat, you know, after, well, you know, rockets are pretty exciting, but, you know, something a bit more upbeat and something a bit more, well, local, in brackets. Inverness Airport was recognised as the best airport in Europe for the 5th consecutive year, so who would have thought? You know, it serves just under 2 million people. I would not have guessed that, but yeah, 5th year in a row. Well done, Inverness. And I was going to say Inverness International Airport. I'm assuming it is Inverness International, has a ring to it. Inverness International Airport. And then you've also got the most dedicated staff award there for the 3rd year running. So they're obviously doing something right there. I don't have too many issues going through airport. I do like to get there a bit early, but I've not had any issues. The guys are just doing their jobs. But you know, if it was anything like Airport back in the day, the TV show, you know, there was some cranky folk there that you know, really went out their way to stick it to the travellers. And you know, let's be honest, rightly so. Some of them are twats. But yeah, well done, Inverness International Airport. Sticking in the sort of tourist, you know, attraction kind of area, Scotland itself, which is something I'm pretty impressed with. Since 2023, we've saw a rise by almost 4% in tourists coming to the country. So that's about 50 million people. That's crazy. That's so good. And when you break it down and look at some of the places, obviously you've got your go-to places like Edinburgh Castle and stuff, but you've also got St Giles's Cathedral, which is featured in so many like massive movies. Fast and the Furious, no my cup of tea, right? But you know, the Edinburgh scene was pretty cool, I'll be honest with you. You've also got the Avengers Infinity War. Anybody that saw that movie back in 2018, the Captain America returning to, and let's be honest, Edinburgh Waverley is where he returned. That's a pretty cool moment. And obviously you've got Frankenstein. Obviously, I wrote that down there because I was like, I don't even remember what Frankenstein movie it is when I looked. It was one with James McAvoy and Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. See, I'm trying to kind of do this, or I'm trying to edit less, which again people say they don't notice, which is great. But I mean, you need to keep some of this stuff in. So yeah, St Giles's Cathedral. It's very interesting. If you're ever in Edinburgh, pop your head in there. One of the things I did notice is there's a new TV show on Netflix, and this is just a wee sidebar here. It's called Running Point. It's a basketball drama. Anybody that's watched it, or anybody that's took the time to, you know, like at least put it on, you know what Netflix is like, it's second screen viewing. If you look at the arena where the team play, it's Los Angeles, it's supposed to be, it's only the Glasgow Hydro. You know, That's pretty cool. But you're looking at it and you're like, that's SECC there. There's the exhibition centre train station and the Red Bridge. It's one of the ones, like you can't unsee it. But there'll be somebody watching that, in like, I don't know, Rome or Madrid, and they're thinking, oh, that must be Los Angeles. No, it's Glasgow. It's not Los Angeles. It's Glasgow. And while we're on the subject of films and TV, because listen, we're always going to end up here. Let's not deny the inevitable that's going to happen. We had Ayo Adebere. So anybody that doesn't know Ayo Adebere's name, if you watched the Bear, she's Chef Sydney. If anybody that remembers the kind of mid-2000s will remember the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and off the back of that, obviously you've had a lot of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard drama. So any talk of a future film was always put on the kind of back burner until all that had blown by. And whether you think they should have recast or whatever your thoughts on that are, it's one of the ones that's happened. And there was all this talk of a female led Pirates movie, and it's it went down like a lead balloon in some quarters. See, as long as it's written well, it doesn't really bother me. You had that Ocean 7 a couple of years ago was absolutely fine. Just it was not as good as Ocean's 11, but it's nothing to do with the fact that there's ladies in it. It's just just wasn't as well written. But you had Ayo Adebere, so she was basically attached to a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and she's came out and said she's been getting death threats and racial slurs after Elon Musk falsely claimed that she'd be replacing Johnny Depp in the upcoming movies. Again, you have to think to yourself, it's all this false information going around. I don't want to say fake news because then you get attached to somebody else, but people out here are taking everything as gospel, and the reality with these things and I find that a lot of the time with this, you need to really look into your background. Where's your name, your sources, look at your sources. So you're going through it, you're seeing that, but these unfounded assertions have led to intense harassment Adebere online. I just find that it's just the world we live in now. You've got a screen between you and any kind of real threat. It feels like you're doing nothing, typing these words out. But at the end of the day, there's somebody at the other end of this receiving. I think you're probably best just to stay off online. It's the best way to be. But the world, again, we live in, everybody's got a phone in their pocket, and unless you make the choice to sign out everything, and it's probably not good for your career, not to have access to these things. But it's no stopping Ayo Adebere. She plays April, or voices April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. You've got a new season of The Bear coming out, and I read this and I had to take a double take, and I was like, right, again, we're talking about sources, like where did this come from? She's attached to a live action Barney movie. The big purple dinosaur for when we were kids, in all fairness, but he would lay the smackdown on Bear in the Big Blue House and maybe even Blue's Clues, but that's shown my age, or maybe I was too old and I was watching these things. Who knows? You'll never know. We're not finding that out. Again, while we're on the subject of films, the box office for Captain America is pretty bad. As of now, something might change. I highly doubt it. It's looking to be the lowest grossing Marvel film, and that's including films that came out during the pandemic. Jeez Louise, that's pretty diabolical. Right now in the UK, it's grossed over 15 million in 3 weekends. To put that in comparison, Bridget Jones came out the same weekend and it's done double that, or double. My maths is terrible, man. I've wrote this down. 35 million it's done, so just over double where it's done. God, I need to just not be doing maths and these things, but unfortunately it comes with that. The US box office is a bit kinder to the film as a whole. It's 176 million it's made. Its worldwide gross is 370.8 at the time of recording, which sounds like a lot when the break-even point, so at the moment where that film starts making money, is estimated to be around 425 million, so it's probably not going to be happening. Let's just say that right now. Talking of like failures, there's been hardly any films this year that would break the kind of box office. Let's kind of look back at that. I've the list I pulled together for that. It's a little less interesting than what I thought it would be. The worldwide box office is dominated right now with China. China have 3 of the top 5 movies. Now I know it's only halfway through March. The summer season hasn't kicked in, and there's some absolute stonkers coming out in the next couple of months. But you've got Niza 2, which is a Chinese animated film, and it's I don't know what's going on here. It has achieved a massive amount of success. I'm reading this and I can't believe it. 1.9 billion globally. What is that? When did that happen? Anybody that knows box offices knows that you need to take the Chinese box office with a pinch of salt. But I know it charted in America. I don't know if it was shown here, but that's wild. That's wild. That's like Spider-Man, Avatar, like the Avengers level kind of stuff there. That's wild. Detective Chinatown 1900, that's another Chinese production, 477. These are on dollars, by the way. I just wanted to, I realise I'm thinking this could be pounds or whatever economy we're talking about here, but these are dollars. So yeah, $477 million for that. That's crazy. Captain America 370, like we spoke about. Creation of the Gods, a Chinese fantasy movie, 170.4 million. And then number 5, Dogman. I know it's a kids animated movie. I'd seen Captain Underpants back in the day. 113 million. The box office needs a kick up the behind, and unfortunately the film I thought that was going to Mickey 17, I don't want to say it's bombing, but it's bombing. And I love Robert Pattinson, and I don't need to tell you why, and it's not because of Twilight, even though it's not that bad. The soundtracks are amazing, come on, but it's not going to kickstart the box office this year. And I'm annoyed because the filmmaker Bong Joon-ho, we've spoke about it in previous podcasts, the film itself, it should be making money. And has it been marketed wrong? Because I know a lot of people that don't know it's even coming out. Is the budget too high for a pretty large sci-fi movie that is a very niche audience? It's bizarre. It's not like your Star Wars or Star Treks. It's disappointing that it's not making money, because it makes the studios gun shy about doing more interesting stories. I mean, Warner Brothers here, they do take pretty creative swings, like Joker last year. The reviews put me off seeing that. Sadly, I loved the first one, but again, they take massive creative swings, and 9 times out of 10 they pay off, but when they don't, it's massive losses. Even back in the day, 9 years ago, almost to the day, I believe it was the 26th, Batman vs Superman. Loved that movie, had such a great time, and then you're getting ridiculed because everybody thinks it's terrible, and Martha and all that. So you want films to succeed purely just because you want more creative risks to be taken. That is, at the end of the day, that's what's interesting. You need your tentpole blockbusters. That's your McDonald's and whatever. But then you need your little 6 by Nico's, your little fancy meals. That's those movies. The bespoke auteur director led ones. That's the ones you want. So unfortunately, Mickey 17 isn't going to do that, and it looks like it will be the end of March, April time before the box office kicks off. And it's looking like it's going to be Minecraft that does that. What? We done the Lego movie, amazing. We done Barbie, amazing. I don't know if we can go 3 for 3 here. Minecraft, I have no hope. That's not the word. I'm sure people will like it. I think it's going to be obviously aimed at a different audience, but yeah, I don't know how that one pans out. What I do know is it looks like Jack Black is getting paid to play Jack Black again. Jason Momoa's in the film, and normally he's the guy that's playing himself, but he's a cool guy and he's quite funny, so it's allowed. But maybe Jason Momoa steals the show here. Who knows? But Minecraft, what a way to start the summer movie season. Minecraft. Moving over to the technology front, quite quiet if I'm being totally honest. Xbox have announced that there's going to be potentially a handheld console this year, but it's not going to be made by them. It's basically just going to be a branded, handheld PC. You see lots of them, Asus, Asus, and Steam Decks are mega popular. There's other ones as well. I'm not well versed in the whole I have a computer, obviously. It's an HP. That's nonsense. It's Dell, I believe. So I don't even know. So yeah, when it comes to that sort of stuff, listen, see if it works. It works. The PC I've got, which I'm just checking it now. Yep, it's an HP. Right, I'm just going to be quiet. But yeah, so it's potentially a handheld. Is it? It's difficult. It's not for me. Put it that way. So for the people travelling, it's for kind of younger kids and stuff. If it sells, it sells. But let's be honest, Microsoft's a $1 trillion company, and they're not hurting for cash. And then you've got the likes of 2027 coming along. There's rumours, and again, a new Xbox. If it comes out, I wouldn't be surprised. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't be either. They basically came out and said that in 2027 they're going to be making, but from what sounds like it, these are all unsubstantiated rumours, but it's came from a really reliable source. It's Windows Central who broke many a story, but they've basically come out and what the information says. I keep saying they've came out and said, but what the information says is it's basically just going to be a really upmarket PC for someone who doesn't want to build a PC. It sounds like a console to me, but it's going to have that kind of cross experience. If it came with a thing, so anybody, again, PC gaming is not my thing, but anybody who does PC gaming, the main thing you use is Steam. So we mentioned the Steam Deck earlier. You would buy your games from the Steam store, and to be fair, the prices are ridiculously cheap on there. So if they can integrate that, and you could be sitting playing your Xbox, and then you jump onto your Steam library where you've spent countless hundreds of pounds buying games that you're never going to play and adding them to your backlog. Listen, that'd be really cool. But 2027, I'm saying it's years away. Is 2 years, but consoles always come out later on in the year, so we're like 2.5 years removed. I don't know if the want or the influence, like Xbox isn't what it used to be. It used to be like Halo, Gears, with the likes of these games more than likely going to PlayStation. Well, unless you're buying it, like the reason I stay in it, and I'll be totally honest with you, it's because I'm in the ecosystem. I've spent lots of money buying digital games and all that back in the day. Obviously, you've got whatever Game Pass and stuff now, but it's just the aura of Xbox is diminished greatly. So whether the people are there to buy it when it comes out, who knows? But listen, as I say, they're a $1 trillion company. It's no skin off their nose. And then just rounding the weekend off, you've got Country to Country, which is on at the OVO Hydro. You've got the Glasgow International Comedy Film Festival starting, and obviously you've got the Rangers Celtic game on Sunday. Listen, there's plenty to do this weekend. It's going to be a good one. I really don't want to take up any more of your time. I know it's been a shorter episode than usual, but these things happen. What is happening though, and just to give you a kind of a little bit of background, obviously we are, over a month in, we have the emails are getting fired out, the DMs are getting fired out. When we get a reply, we will get the interviews, basically, is what it's going to be. And once they start coming, we will bank them, so there'll be plenty of things coming in the timeline. A couple of things I'd like to say. The messages we're getting, Ian, last week, I'm sorry I did not push publish quickly enough, so thank you very, very much for messaging as fast as you did, because otherwise the show would not have been live. And Anthony, again, I'm sure you're going to be listening to this when you're driving to Aberdeen or London or wherever the travels may take you, but thank you so much for the audio gear, the new microphones, and I'm going to butcher it, so the other additions that you gave me, I'll just say I don't want to say any more than that. But no, listen, thank you very much. The support is brilliant. It makes it worthwhile, as I say, to get the messages last week. Obviously I hadn't pressed publish, but Ian was straight there, letting me know 10 minutes after the show was supposed to be on. So it's good to know that there is people out there watching, and it does not go unnoticed, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Remember, if you want to get in touch, you've got our Facebook, The Whisky Sour Hour, you've got Instagram, The Whisky Sour Hour, and obviously contacts at thewhiskeysourhour.com, which, private emails, so cool. Listen, I would love if you could subscribe, like, follow. One thing that I do request, and if you could do it, it'd be great. If you're listening to us on Spotify, if you're on YouTube, either give us a little review, a wee 5-star review never goes amiss, or a little like. That's all we ask for. But I know it's been a shorter episode, and I know I'm probably going to get ribbed off my dad. Say the Whisky Sour half an hour, but listen. It is what it is. It's a quick one. We're getting out there. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a great weekend. I've been Thomas Waddle. This has been the Whisky Sour Hour. Cheers.